Okay, in this video we're going to walk through some very basic concepts in polygon editing and creation. And so again, what we need to make sure you do, and I'm going to close this so we can see how it works, we've added a polygon feature, an empty feature class here, quad buildings. We have our editor toolbar, and again, if you don't have that open, click on customize toolbars and select editor. We do have that on now. And so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click Start Editing, and what I need to make sure is that window is open. So I'm going to slide down to my editing window, Create Features, and then again I'm going to click Quad Buildings. I'm going to create polygons. Now I certainly could create rectangles, circles, or ellipses, but I'm going to create polygons. And my tool that I'm going to use is going to be the right angle tool. So I'm going to select that one. And we'll show you how that works in just a moment. I'm going to click along one edge of the building, and you'll notice this right angle tool doesn't allow me to go off right angle from that original segment. So I click again, and I'm going to go all the way over. I know this is a rectangular building, and I'm going to click. And that is my polygon. You'll notice that it's highlighted in the teal. I'm going to do the same thing down here. And again, I'm going to turn off this time my right angle tool and choose straight segment. And again, now you'll notice that I could make any type of shape, but we're going to try to go here to here and down again. And we'll go all the way out, make this relatively simple in this case. And there's my second polygon. Now, that's the most basic form that you can do. In other words, we've essentially digitized a few, in this case, two features. Now, there are a couple other tools that are worth understanding, one of which is the cut polygon tool. In other words, so I've drawn a large polygon, and I actually want to split it at this point. And so if I chose that, now the most important thing about the cut polygon tool is that it will work on the selected polygon. So in other words, if I make this the active polygon, I select the cut polygon tool, and I select where on the edge I want to cut it. Let's say right there, and I need to split it in half, and I'm going to go over to here and click, and now I have in fact two polygons. Now I can, in a sense, reverse this. I have two polygons selected, and what I can actually do under the editor tool is merge them back together. And when I click on merge, you'll notice what it does is it lists the ID of each one and which it's going to be merged into. And so whichever one is highlighted, that's what it will be merged into. In other words, it will be created and watch. And now it goes back to a single one. So we can create polygons. We can use certain tools to make their shape a specific way. Or we can cut them apart, or in a sense add them back together. Okay, so again, there are a number of tools, cut polygons, reshape polygons, and the other one here that I do want to note is edit vertices. So when I click on that, you'll notice what actually is exposed here is a series of vertices. In other words, what vertexes make up this polygon. Now once I click on the edit vertices tool, you'll notice that this toolbar comes up. And the first, kind of the easiest thing to do here is I can move a vertex any way that I want. And again, we can modify the feature that way. But in some cases, if I want to edit the vertices, again, I want to reshape it, I'm going to click on it again. And you'll notice that I can actually add a vertex or subtract a vertex. Well, let's see what happens when I add a vertex. Now let's say I want to make this bend a little bit more complicated. So I'm going to click here and add a vertex, and you'll notice that I dropped a new one there. Now what that allows me to do is in fact now make this bend a little bit more complicated. The other thing though that I could do, you'll notice, so here's the shape now. Okay, I'm going to click outside of it so you see that. I'm going to go back to editing my vertices. Again, it has to be an active feature. And again, I'm going to edit it. My vertices are now there. But I might want to say, well, I don't really need this kind of complex area here. And so I'm going to subtract a vertex. So I'm going to click on this one. And you'll notice that immediately it drops back to its original shape. Again, that's the editing of vertices. Okay? Now, other options that are available, I can stretch proportionally. In other words, what this allows me to do is if I move this vertex right here, and I'm going to do the stretch proportionally. Okay, let's get the right tool on here. Then when I stretch, you'll notice that it's actually making that shape stay the same, but as I move it, it becomes larger but kind of maintains that area. Okay, so that's again some of the vertex editing tools. The other thing that I do want to point out is you'll notice I've been using straight line creation right now. I'm going to go back to the polygon, and in this case what I am going to do is I can also create vertices that are based on more of a freehand style. So you'll notice here, by clicking on freehand, my shape becomes much more irregular. Okay? So again, I don't have to necessarily make these rectangular shapes. They can be all sorts of different shapes. Again, the idea here is to create polygons that reflect what is underneath them. Now, the last possibility that we can talk about here is a way of duplicating, or in a sense making our polygons share boundaries. And when we do that, again, we're going to be shaping this one. What I want to do is add a polygon to that, but I want it to share some of these edges. And so in doing that, what I can do is in fact trace, and you'll notice now a couple different things. In this, I'm going to, under the trace tool, so I've selected the trace tool here, and you'll notice that as I move it over different vertices, it has a different shape. You'll notice that that's a large square and that becomes a small square. Well, one of the things that I want to do when in this tool is to right click and go to trace options. Okay, and again, what I want to make sure is that under my trace tools, that when I do this, I'm getting the right way of creating. So what I want to do is, typically I'm going to click outside and then trace to an area. Oh, I lost my trace there. I think I'm going to stop this video now, and we'll get into the tracing on the next one, because that's really in more of the complex videos. So next time we'll get into tracing and I'll show you what the mistake was there.